Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Let's go! This time is personal. It's time to reap what you sow. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This is the end of the road. We got some unfinished business. Your time is ending. Right here, right now. I came to finish you.
ICE agents are forced to go find illegal criminal aliens that are not turned over to them through cooperation when detainers are presented. Instead, criminal illegal aliens are released back onto the streets, forcing these confrontations over and over and over again. So what is there to do? What's President Trump supposed to do? Just let it go? Well, he could, but then the playbook is out. Resist at all costs. Do not have to follow federal law. Do not have to follow federal rule, right? Push comes to shove. It's creating a dangerous environment on the street, and it's coming to the point where it's almost not possible for either one of our sides to actually reconcile and move forward as a unified nation. That video you saw is a doxing video put out there locating ICE agents that don't have their faces covered to dox them, to see where they are, to get their addresses, get their license plates. It's a whole operation that's going on. And these are being done by American citizens on the streets. Like, this is what's occurring. So what is there to do? Not to mention, this happened on top, this is happening because of fraud that was uncovered in that city and state, right? So like the ICE is moving in because fraud was uncovered, right? So national spotlight's on. All right, we got to do something now. So we're going into Minneapolis, and what's the immediate response by Tampon Tim's? He doesn't want any cooperation. Get out of here. We don't want you. Mayor Frey, get the F out of our city, right? No looking to partnership whatsoever. So where does that start drawing the line on the talk of insurrection? When there are federal laws, federal agencies that are looking to enforce federal statutes on the books, and the city and state local officials are not cooperating. In fact, they're actually impeding the progress and investigations. So where's that lie? What authority does President Trump have? Governor Walz and Frey could easily hand over these criminal illegal aliens at the jails to ICE. So none of this stuff could be going on in the city, right? None of this could be happening. But it's being done on purpose. We're on the brink, it feels like. So where do we go? What's next? What's coming? I don't know. I did see that Tom Homan is being sent up to Minneapolis. He's en route right now to get on the ground there. But this is all purposely being done as organized chaos to inflict maximum harm on the American people. Is this not an insurrection we're in the middle of? Is this not treason we're in the middle of? Right? And what causes all this is blue policies, sanctuary city policies, which I still don't understand how it's constitutionally legal. I believe it was the NAACP or the ACL, I think it was the ACLU that actually legally successfully argued to prevent cooperation between city and states on immigration policies, right? So like you got to look at those types of organizations that are actually fighting this stuff in the courts as well, that are promoting this division within our country. It's stoking the fuel. It is stoking the fire. ICE agents are constantly being harassed just doing their job. It could easily be done. Minneapolis PD could be on site to keep these protests and these legal observers away, but they don't. They're given stand-down orders, don't interact, go about your business, right? So basically leaving ICE and the federal agencies on their own in the streets to conduct these raids in a hostile environment in America. That's what the purpose of the left is. They are creating these hostile environments to produce what you saw on Saturday, to justify them even more. Now, was there poor judgment that took place that day? Probably. Okay, I am an outsider. I did not like what I saw. Okay, I'll be honest, I did not like what I saw. But I can understand what occurred there. I'm not saying I support it one way or the other still. It's a hard video to watch. It really is. But once again, people are willfully getting in line and becoming these legal observers, right? What's a legal observer? What does it mean to observe? Let's start at that just basic level. If you're a legal observer, what does it mean to observe? To watch, doesn't it? Is there any other thing you do to observe? When you observe something, are you yelling at somebody? I believe that's more than observing. If you're blowing a whistle, you're doing something more than observing. If you're blocking traffic with your car, you're doing more than observing, right? So like these words and these titles that are given to these shock troops on the street really need to be really looked at and torn apart. These people are not legal observers. They are there to create chaos. Not to mention, why did this man show up there with a semi-automatic handgun with 2 magazines? Okay, I hear you have right to carry. I get all that. I don't know why you bring that to a protest or bring that when you're going on legal observing, being a legal observer mission. I don't understand the purpose of having those on you. I would never put myself in a position like that, but you know, that's sane against not sane, I guess. I shouldn't talk bad about the dead. That gentleman is dead. But like all these things add up, right? These ICE agents are constantly being put into these unattainable spots where simple local law enforcement, giving them a little safeguard, could actually de-escalate a lot of this, but it is choosing not to, all because of sanctuary city, sanctuary state policies. And why are these policies exist? Simply because the blue states want to keep the power in Congress. That's why they love illegal immigration. It's the political capital chip, right? Population determines representation in Congress via the U.S. House, right? In the Senate, everyone gets 2 seats, right? Fair and boom, 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 right? But in the states, your state populace determines how many seats you get at the table in Congress. So if you welcome illegal immigrants and then you protect illegal immigrants, that welcomes more illegal immigrants to your state, city and state. Yeah, that's great. Taxpayer money being dished out to them. Thank you for coming. Here you go. Here's your EBT. Here's your free cell phone. Here's your free kicks. Here's your social security number because you might need this if you kind of want to vote or, you know, maybe get a job. You don't need to, though. I don't want to say that too loud. You don't need to get one. But, you know, if you want to vote, you could use this number here, right? Like it is part of it. And I'm not saying that all voting or this, that, and the other thing. No, I'm just going bare surface level minimum. At the census level, every time the census is done every 10 years and these states' populations increase by 150,000, 200,000, and mostly it's because of illegal immigrants, guess what? They get more seats at the table when it comes to voting in Congress. That steals the regular American person's voice. Illegal immigration is a serious issue when it comes to actually silencing what the people of America want, because the people of America are losing representation on Congress because of the census count in the United States House of Reps. That is another reason. But that's what the Dems want. That's why the left wants this, because it actually solidifies their voting bloc power. It solidifies them in the House. It also solidifies the electoral vote, because your representation in the House correlates to the number of electoral votes you get come every election cycle, right? So it's very important you maintain those numbers. And that's why these games are played. That's why these games are played by the left. I see Tommy's here. Hey, Tommy, want to come on in, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Will, thank you. Oh, I did not know our guest was in as well. Hey, Will, thank you. I didn't even get to that yet.
Will was here.
Hey, how you doing?
Will was here before me.
I heard something in my ear, but I thought it was you, Tommy. I apologize.
You heard a pitter patter.
So we do have a guest today. His name is Will Tainer. He is a co-founder of the American Tribune and is just an old world expert from what I understand of it. And I believe we could have a great conversation today, because I used to teach history. I'm not saying I'm as smart as you. I was a social studies teacher in high school for 12 years. But I am fascinated by history, did study history. I see a lot of correlation going on between us and the ancient world, especially with Rome. Very close to Rome. But Will, welcome to the show, man. Love to hear what you're thinking. Please introduce yourself to the crowd.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to come on, and thank you, Tommy, for introducing us and getting me on here. It's funny you mentioned Rome. The reason I started the American Tribune with a few business partners is because I got really into reading about Tiberius Gracchus for a while and his day in Rome, where you had these oligarchic elites just oppressing the common people of Rome and taking so much from them and destroying the old yeoman class that had maintained the Republic. It really struck me as something that is relevant today. So we started it and have been pushing forward with that in mind ever since. And I primarily talk about history, whether European or American or ancient, and how it relates to us today.
And just simple question: is it true that history repeat itself, just in different forms?
You know, that's a common thing. I think in some ways it does, just because of human nature, where you always get the same sort of things. I do think, though, that the spirit of an age can be very different, and the way that people interact based on that can be very different. Where, not all elites are going to be oligarchic and horrible. So some of them actually do quite well. And similarly, the democracy sometimes works, republicanism sometimes works, other forms of government sometimes work. So, while some of these broad patterns repeat, I think it's important to not get too drawn into that and to look for which similarities are actually real between, certain times and others, rather than to become convinced that we're just in this immutable cycle that's going to continue no matter what we do. Because we still need to act, we still need to do things, we still need to have the right ideals in mind as we move forward.
Fair, completely agree with you. So where do you see America's trajectory right now in 2025?
It's, I think
2026.
Yeah, I would love to be super hopeful and say that it's going great. And I think there are reasons for hope, as some people have done a good job of pointing out on Twitter. Trump has done a number of good things, and, we'll see if that plays out. But man, on the other hand, it is just bleak out there. I think particularly, I don't know how familiar you are with the Weather Underground and that whole era of American history where the 70s saw not only the near hyperinflation for which the 70s are known, but also just outright leftist terror movements like the Weather Underground, the Black Liberation Army, the Black Panthers, the whatever the Puerto Rican nationalists called themselves, the FALN, I think, carrying out thousands of bombings a year, assassinating police officers, assassinating bankers, assassinating just normal people, sometimes in their homes. It was really an awful era, and frankly, it looks like it's going to repeat. Now, the good thing about the 70s is that it ended with the 80s, and things did get better from that point on for a couple decades. But man, the 70s were rough, and it really just looks like we're about to repeat that. And a lot of that came because our political leaders at the time were feckless and incompetent and unwilling to crack down on the leftist terrorists as they needed to be cracked down upon. And we'll see what happens this time. Maybe that will repeat. Maybe it won't. Again, it depends on our actions rather than just being the cycle. But man, does it seem similar and kind of bleak for that reason.
And Tommy, what do you think about all this? What's going on from this weekend and what you just heard Will say here? What do you got fermenting?
I think it was inevitable. I tend to look at it in the same way. You look at, assuming 9/11 story is true, which is not, but let's just take it as a theory, is like, to say, so Dick Cheney gives the order to shoot down an American airline. Well, why are you going to do that? It's got 300 civilians on board. Well, 2 planes have hit the World Trade Center, and one's hit the Pentagon. So we're going to go shoot down this plane. It's got 300 civilians. If you shoot it down, you kill 300 civilians, and that sucks. If you don't shoot it down, it hits the White House, it kills 300 civilians, and that sucks. And then it also kills a bunch of people on the bottom. Meaning that it's a bad situation, but you have to make a decision. And a lot of times, people, myself included, we do this, it's above my pay grade type thing, where we chalk it up to it being a bigger than life decision, which is fair. But you also have to remember that someone has to make the decision at some point. You do eventually have to make the decision. You can't just, Truman famously said, the buck stops here, meaning somebody makes the decision. And what we're seeing now is, yes, it sucks. The dude got shot. It sucks. The woman got shot. I'm not cheering those on. I'm a human being. That's somebody's daughter, somebody's son. I get that. But at the same time, this was inevitable. You have to remove these people, not the people shot, the illegal immigrants, and you have to do so in any way that is required. And If you look at the last 5 years, what we saw was my podcast was absolutely throttled by corporations, which we now know we're not even acting privately. They're the DHS and the FBI and the White House working through them. I've interviewed people younger than me, ended up in wheelchairs with heart attacks, and they were silenced and they weren't allowed to talk about it. You had FEMA actively refusing aid to the Hurricane Helene victims. You saw them raid a city or a ex-president's house with orders to shoot to kill. You had them try to kill him, which only got away with complicity at the highest levels. You had a ton of veterans thrown into a gulag in Washington, D.C. for years with no due process. You have seen this isn't hyperbole. If I was saying all this 5 years ago, it would be understandable if you said, all right, Tommy, but you're kind of being a hyperbolic sort of pearl clutcher. Fair. Nothing I'm talking about is a potential that we might see, an extrapolation from the past. I'm naming things that have happened within the last half decade. In the life of this podcast, this has happened. You've seen what they are. And it sucks that it's not going to be easy to remove all these immigrants. And it sucks that they're going to be people who throw themselves in front of it and get killed. I'm not cheering that on. But someone has to make the decision. You shoot the plane down, and it sucks. You kill these people, or you don't, and then it still kills those people, and it kills more people. Yes, it sucks. Loss of life sucks. And the people cheering that on, yes, that's gross. But, dude, we've seen this time and time again. And as Elon Musk said, if Renee Good wasn't shot by an ICE agent, and if the pretty guy wasn't shot by an ICE agent, and instead these were just two white people killed by immigrants, you would never hear. And not just that it wouldn't be trending, it would be actively throttled. And everyone listening knows that to be true in your heart. You've seen their face. I'm at a point where it's do it at any cost. I don't care. If you get in the way of it, sorry, you're an idiot. You've seen what their plans are for you. This is not hyperbole. This is not a theoretical, provable U.S. history in our own recent memories. By recent, I mean the last 5 years. You've seen what they're for. Act accordingly. If you get in the way, hey, dude, I was at January 6th. You know what? It sucks that Ashley Babbitt got shot in the face. But I think she was also rushing a Secret Service agent. It sucks, but at the same time, what are you doing? You can't try to run over a federal agent. You can't pull a gun when you're wrestling with federal agents. I don't. And who are they defending? Are they defending the American ideal of, give me your weak, you're tired? Dude, we're not talking about immigrants from 200 years ago who are coming and settling a nation. You're talking about people who are here illegally, disproportionately rapists and murderers. They're defrauding that state government for more money than their nation's GDP. And they're not even embezzling it and buying flat screen TVs. They're literally giving it to a terrorist group. What? And we're...
All well said, man.
You have a bunch of conservatives going, well, I'm not for this shooting. Okay, well then you know what? The next time it happens, it's going to be you on the street, and I can goddamn guarantee you, not a single leftist is going to come out and go, well, I'm against this. Not a single leftist came out and said, I think the Capitol riot was wrong, but we shouldn't be arresting people with no due process. I understand that some parents don't want trannies in their home, but we shouldn't be sending the FBI to them. I understand that a lot of people are vaccine skeptics, but we shouldn't be harassing people and firing people and removing people's back pay from the military who have given their lives to serve this country because they don't want to take a vaccine that's going to give them a foot-long blood clot, and they don't want to do it because the risk of them dying from the actual disease is 1 in a million. You've seen their true colors. At this point, if you don't act accordingly, you're not ignorant. You're just a pussy. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. Like, once you see, and that's the thing, Americans that have experienced what the left has to offer and it's come for you, they know. You've experienced time. I've experienced it.
And that's every American alive, by the way. That's the life. We're not talking about back in the 50s. We're talking about the last half decade, the last 1,500 days, the last 250 weeks. This isn't a theoretical of, well, your grandparents might remember the Nazis. No. We're talking about shit that happened when 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So I get what you're saying, Pat, but this isn't most Americans that might remember. If you were, okay, other than 1 through 5 year olds, every American alive has remembered it.
No, but yes, but you got to remember, at least half the country supported what happened to those people, right? Like the mindset.
All the more point. They've already shown you who they are.
Right. So now, as a nation, and Will, I want to bring you in with this expertise here. How do you get this country on the right path when you have just two sides that vehemently disagree with the fundamental beginnings of this country now and the principles of this country? How do we coexist?
You don't. It's musical chairs, and one group has the guns.
Yeah,
it's what it is, man.
Yeah, like, you know, there's the thing where not all the not all the like Democrat voters think like that, which gets brought up a lot, and that's just a large extent true. There's always people who are followers instead of leaders, but I think Tommy's right. You just can't coexist with the sort of people who are pushing this race communist ideology and who want to destroy us. I mean, like, the people that we're now supposed to be upset about having died are the same sort of people who are cheering Charlie Kirk's death 4 months ago. They're awful, and they need to be treated like it. There's this idea that it's unconstitutional to crack down on Bolshevik terrorists as they try to murder you, which is absurd. MacArthur, before he defended and then retook the Philippines, put down the bonus army because it had become just a center of red infiltration in D.C. where the communists were trying to start a revolution. So he shot them with machine guns, and the problem went away. Similarly, what was one of Washington's first acts as president? It was crushing the Whiskey Rebellion because people were trying to launch an insurrection across the states, and he wasn't going to tolerate it, so he put it down. You get a lot of examples like that. 60% of America supported the National Guard during the Kent State shootings because the supposed students were really just out-of-town communist agitators who were there and had terrorized the town for weeks, had burned down the ROTC building, and were pelting the soldiers with stones, hitting some of them in the head. So the soldiers shot them, and the problem went away. Of course, we lost the propaganda effort afterwards because the right is lazy and refused to just commit to saying, no, we're not going to tolerate communism in America. But, these sort of things are broadly supported by the public when they happen, like the Hard Hat Rebellion, where a bunch of construction workers in New York just beat up a bunch of hippies. It makes the problem go away, and it's broadly popular. And that sort of thing, I do think, to some extent, needs to happen, because you cannot tolerate a communist revolution within your borders. And the sort of people who are, shooting at ICE agents, as we saw an Antifa cell set up an L-shaped ambush and actually ambush ICE agents, I think in Texas a couple months ago. That sort of thing just cannot be tolerated. So while protests are one thing, and there's the First Amendment, we also need to keep in mind that some of these people want to kill us, and that there's a long history in America of just not tolerating that, and we need to make it happen. The other thing, and I'll be brief, is just there's this claim on the right that if you make things bad enough for illegal aliens, most of them will just go away, which is probably true for the ones who came here from, say, Mexico or Colombia, which is, somewhat functional states. But the thing to remember is that Biden and Harris imported millions upon millions of people from Haiti, Somalia, Gambia, Equatorial Guinea, places that are just actual hellholes. And no matter what you do, you're not going to make a city in America worse than Equatorial Guinea. It's impossible. You're not going to do it. So those people need to be detained and deported and gotten out of America. And there's no way to do that other than the physical act of detaining and deporting them, which will inevitably mean that clashes occur, and those just need to be tolerated as part of the game. And if people are resisting, then they're resisting and need to be treated like it. So yeah, I know it's harsh, but I'm just very intolerant of the attempted communist Bolshevik revolution that's ongoing in America.
No, I hear you. And the thing is, like, we know what's coming next, right? Like, if we don't clean house now and get stuff in order for the midterms and then the presidential election 2 years after, we know what the back end's going to look like.
Oh, yeah.
And the Biden regime, that shit was just a warm-up. This will be full-fledged chaos, anarchy, looking to obliterate the right at every which turn. Your freedom to love in this country, your freedom to live in this country, your freedom to work in this country will be gone if you're a conservative. I fully believe that. Because you hear what they're saying already, right? You hear some of these politicians, how they're talking. They want to do away with ICE, right? So if you're going to do away with ICE, that's going to lead to open borders, which leaves the mass flooding of our system once again. Entitlements, monetary issues, right? So The end game is basically a self-destructive push of the United States, is it not, by the left? That's the end game, right?
Looks like it.
So how do the regular people on the streets not understand this, or do they just not care and actually promote it because they believe the end of America is better than what we have now?
I think so many people are just tuned out. Those like Google search words or keywords charts that go viral on Twitter from time to time. I don't know if y'all saw the one, but when we've all been on Twitter or on Rumble or whatever and seeing this, back and forth between people who are upset about the shooting and people who are broadly supportive of ICE, is the same time as all that's happening, and it seems like the biggest deal in the world. Keywords related to like the New York Bills and the Patriots and a couple other NFL teams were like 100 times more popular on Google than anything having to do with ICE in Minnesota. So I think the average person is just focused on their bread and circuses and entirely tuned out of the existential conflict going on, perhaps even just a couple miles from where they live. It's like the old 4chan green text where the guy wakes up in Kiev and is asking why there are explosions, and the response is, "You're under attack, retard." That's more or less what's happening now, and why people seem to doubt, I think.
Yeah, well, if they're fed and entertained, people are ignorant, right? That was an old Rome, the bread and circus of the ancient Rome, right? As long as they're fed and entertained, you can get away with a lot, can you?
It also essentially cancels them out because you are right, and that's not novel to this time. That's really kind of America, I think, in our lives, is that most people don't care. Well, if most don't care, then you can just you can remove it. So instead of saying, well, 90% of people don't care, the real way to look at it is let's just say 5% of people want the deportations, 5% of people don't. The other 90 don't exist for all intents and purposes. So it's really 5 on 5. So keep fighting. That's how I look at it, is 90% of people have no conviction. They will just go with, they went along with the vaccine mandates, not because they were for it, but because they're weak. They don't care. These are the same people that are also probably not saying anything about ICE because they don't care. They're weak. They're nothing. They're filler. It's not ever played Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5, right? You got these huge cities. And the whole thing is, it's always, a complaint with these games. You can't go in any building. And it's like you couldn't, because the game would be way too big and complex, and it would take a zillion years to develop with current technology. So if you really, you can immerse yourself in the game and lose yourself and have fun driving around the streets. But you also got to look at it sometimes and remember, you're like, these are just big empty boxes around you, and it's an illusion, meaning that the big empty boxes are the people who have no conviction. It's really just you and a couple other people. So to me, that's inspiring. It means that it's not 5% versus 95%. It's 5 on 5.
Gotta do what we gotta do then. Best team win. So how do you win this battle? If the DOJ isn't able to start prosecuting people for treason and sedition, like you see this, we're gonna
literally call an insurrection attack and roll in with tanks. You've already shown, people on the right have already shown their hand. The people who are like, listen, I'm for this, but I'm not for shooting. Okay, you're gonna get what you deserve. You're gonna get the last 4 years. You're gonna get it in 2028. Remove them. Forget them. There is no time to talk about this. Literally roll in the tanks. I don't care. The fact that you can go in there and go, we're doing deportations, and all it takes is a couple angry people screaming, and then you go, all right, never mind. Then what is the point? What is the point of doing anything? Just resign, walk out of the White House and go, I'm done. Like, what is the point? Are you getting off on the showmanship?
Let's see, and this is my issue with all this, right? Like January 6th, how many thousands got locked up and thrown in just for walking around the Capitol? Not hitting any offices, not doing anything, just walking around or being on the grounds. You have these leftist jackasses doing everything under the sun to impede a federal investigation, assault officers, right? Why aren't more of these guys just getting locked up right on the streets? Why are they just locking up the one that might have thrown a bottle? Why aren't they locking up the 15 or 20 that are blocking the road every time? Why aren't they locking up the 40 or 50 that are circling the ICE vehicles? Why aren't they doing it?
To some extent, it's because of juries. There was just the news today where they had arrested someone who was caught in the physical act of attacking and punching or stabbing or something a DHS agent in California, and the local jury just let the guy off. And if you look at data coming out of juries and how juries vote, there are a ton of cases where leftist jury nullification just happens, where take, for example, the Chauvin trial where he was locked up. Two of the people on the jury were outright affiliated with Black Lives Matter. One of them had worn a shirt saying something like Chauvin did it to a Black Lives Matter rally before attending the trial and was still a member of the jury, and that just was allowed to happen. So I think to some extent the Department of Homeland Security and DOJ's calculus is that if they do just, say arrest 30 protesters in Minneapolis, that's great for an afternoon, but those people are going to be back out on the street immediately, and it's going to look like a defeat for them and a big public black eye for them in the way that it isn't necessarily if they just black bag a couple people and actually have them arrested somewhere and just have the rest of it be a big public scuffle, which is frustrating and I don't want to happen. But I also think a lot of it is that they don't want to lose the morale advantage and lose the ability to project a string of successes or string of wins, because if it is just a steady drumbeat of them arresting people and then those people being immediately released, it's one, going to make them look lawless, and two, make them look just incompetent, which many people already think they're incompetent, so whatever. But I do think the string of morale defeats from the constant drumbeat of releasing people would be a big problem. And the only way around that is to declare martial law and have military tribunals, because the judges are about as bad as the juries in most of these places. So we'll see if that happens, and it probably needs to get worse before it does, but that'd be the only way around it. And I do think the jury thing is why the DOJ is hesitant to just start arresting people and trying to lock them up.
Damon, can you get the Stephen Miller post ready? Everyone seriously understands. I want to go. You bring up a great point. I was saving this for the later in the show, but what you just hit on is completely on point. Stephen Miller put up a post earlier today talking about this exact problem with the judiciary, the juries. Right there, it's on the screen. This is probably one of the smartest guys in the room. Love Stephen Miller. Mm-hmm. He's actually head of the law firm that's representing me in my federal lawsuit against my former school district for firing me. He's the founder of America First Legal. Love this guy. Never met him yet. Hope to meet him one day. But everyone serious understands that the justice system is rigged. Far left prosecutors, magistrates, judges, and juries unhesitantly shield their violent activists and gleefully imprison their political opponents. Unrigging the system is necessary for the survival of the republic. He said what you just said. You guys said the exact same thing. So how do you go about doing this? How do you go about doing this? Because if we don't get this done, we're washed. So how does this happen? I love this country. That's what cost me my job, is me saying I love this country in an equity training in a public school district. That's what cost me my job. I love this country. I have a 3-year-old boy, soon to be 4. I do not want him growing up in a nation where he's seen as being a target because he's a white male. Mm-hmm. So how do we unpack all of this to try and get this ship on the right direction, right? How? What do you do about the judiciary? Judges are pretty much untouchable minus impeachments. So what's going to happen here?
I think one thing is viewing it as a siege rather than a set piece battle, where really our only way to have any lasting effect on the enemy is to drain their resources and try and take what wins we can in an incremental way. And, say the situation in Minneapolis, it could be a good example of that, where on one hand, yes, it's frustrating that they're not just rounding up the 1,000 leftists that are constantly agitating and causing issues, as would be great if they could make it stick. But on the other hand, the constant battles and the constant fighting is drawing these people into the open. It's drawing all their schemes into the open where there's room for continued investigations. And probably most importantly, it's drawing in the constant attention, the focus, and the resources of the legal NGOs, the various aid and community organizing NGOs, and forcing them to spend money and pour more and more resources into these sorts of things. And the government's always going to have more money than those people. So, keeping up the full court press is something Stephen Miller, as you were just showing one of his posts, has long advocated, where if you're doing one huge thing or a couple huge things, that draws the left's attention, and then you can continue with more important things in the background that they're not going to pay attention to because they're not as flashy, which so far has happened. Like if you look at the chart of ICE detainments and deportations, Minneapolis is very small. I think they've arrested 3,500 people, whereas Texas has been huge. They've really been pushing illegals out of that state and doing a good job with it. Same in Florida, same in a couple other red states where they have more freedom to act. And the reason they have freedom to act is because they've been keeping the siege going in a couple high-profile ways in blue states. And I think also have been gathering evidence to use in RICO investigations against Soros and some of the others. Now, I'd prefer it to happen faster, and it probably should happen faster. But at the same time, keeping up that drumbeat of small wins, of constant incremental victories, and constantly draining the enemy's resources is really, I think, the only effective way forward as they look for opportunities to forum shop and arrest, try and lock up the various more influential figures in states or in jurisdictions where the judges there are somewhat friendly, which is what they've been trying to do with that one judge in Florida who's very friendly to the Trump administration. But if they try and do it in Minnesota, you're just going to get the same thing where these people are released. So anyway, I know that's a long answer, but I think the attrition strategy is what they're going for and is probably the only chance they have of any real lasting victory against the leftists right now.
Wow. I was hoping for more. War of attrition sounds kind of tough to just hang your hat on, right? Because like if our judiciary is rotted to the level that we know it is, and there's nothing that's going to be done to fix that judiciary, where do us regular citizens go for recourse when we have been wronged by the system that is looking to eat us? When the system in turn is the judiciary that eats us when we bring our issues to them. This isn't going to end well if that's really the thought of it. Like Americans are just going to get grinded out. Because if that's the case, and let's say Trump loses re-election, what other wins are coming in 3 years, after 3 years?
Yeah, I think all these struggles are generational struggles. The reason we're here in the first place is because the left has been keeping up the pressure since like 1960. They were willing to do it for 60 years, 70 years of constant grinding attritional struggle. And if you look at what they faced in the 60s, and I think they should have faced harsher, it was really what we're facing now. They were just willing to go through it, and they had the propaganda effort at their backs, and they forum shopped and looked for friendly jurisdictions to try and push their subversion. They should have been stopped at the time, but they weren't. They were allowed to continue with it for more and more decades. And I just think we're facing the same thing. And it'd be nice if there was one way to fix it all in a fell swoop, but I really don't think there is, or at least nothing realistic that's going to happen. There are ways to speed up the deportations. Eric Prince offered to deport, I think, 12 million people for $25 billion, and opportunities like that need to be taken and must be taken. But deporting 12 million of them is great, but that doesn't really fix the problem of the judiciary, of the leftist apparatus generally, which is just such a large issue. It needs to be constantly pushed back against while we look for opportunities to take the wins that weaken it. After deportations, redistricting helps, gives us a small advantage with a couple extra seats. Getting rid of the Voter Rights Act or whatever it is that put all the civil rights jurisdictions in the South, which the Supreme Court should rule on soon and will probably go our way. That gives us another small advantage that we can use to push back. And it's not ideal, but being in those friendly jurisdictions and keeping up the attritional campaign is what the left did, and is probably the only effective way forward because of the immense magnitude of what we're facing.
So there's basically we're never going to stop fighting.
No,
we're in a perpetual civil war, campaign. Basically. We're in a perpetual.
Yeah. That's human history. That's what, yeah.
No, we were quiet. We were quiet in the early 2000s. We were quiet, right? We were quiet. We were unified for a little bit. Were we not?
No, the 2000 election was most likely stolen by the hanging chads in Florida.
Correctly, and then you had 9/11, which led at least
which led to 2 decades and $7 trillion of fraud, and the Patriot Act. It was and then 2008, the biggest financial crisis since 1920. In no way, shape, or form.
Tommy, I'm just talking about the feel of the American people towards one another. That's all I'm looking for.
Think about
here.
what was happening.
People didn't hate
in the
each other then.
90s.
They
You
were
had
100%
George Bush
there.
with the
You hated
what was
people
it?
back
The
then?
No,
I'm sorry.
back they absolutely did. Bush was a
Tommy,
Nazi. Jake Cheney with Darth
Tommy,
Vader.
Tommy, no, I'm not going up top. I'm just talking about regular folks today. You know, like how we have left and right looking to kill each other? I'm saying 20 years ago, after 9/11, that was not a thing.
Okay, I
That's what I'm talking about. That American love, that like that tragedy happened.
Yeah,
yes,
you're right.
But, but that rallying cry where you looked at the person next to you and you didn't give a shit if they were left or right. You saw each other as American. That's gone. That's what I was trying to get to. Sorry,
I interrupted you, Will.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
me too.
I was just to add on that. I interrupted y'all. Look at the picture of the OJ verdict from the 90s, whenever that was. The feeling has been here for a long time. It's less in the open when times are good. So you had the .com bubble where people were, feeling flush with their pets.com stock. You had the early 2000s, kind of after that crash, but before it crashed again, where people were feeling okay. But times aren't good right now. They weren't good in the 60s or 70s. They were basically fine in the 80s and kind of basically fine in the 90s if you held stock. So yes, sometimes the seething resentment that underlies the various struggles in America is somewhat hidden, somewhat under the rug, but it does break into the open when the economy is somewhat rough or when times are rough for the sort of people who tend to agitate in the streets. So improving the economy, improving job prospects for kind of working class people and lower level white collar people would probably help with pushing down the open resentment, the open feeling of hostility. But to pretend the people who cheered when OJ was let off after just killing his ex-wife and more or less admitting to it, later writing a book, If I Did It.
This is how.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to have peace with those people, and we're also probably not going to have some Ragnarok moment where it all comes to a head. And so the alternative is just the constant clash and trying to keep up the pressure and weaken them where we can. But I don't think the feeling is new. I don't think the resentment is new, and I don't think it ever really goes away. It just is repressed from time to time.
Interesting.
I mean, think about the great period of Western glory. And sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
You're good. You're a guest. You dropped the knowledge.
I've talked Pat's ear off for so many hours. We'll take it.
There's a great British historian, and he was somewhat on the left, A.J.P. Taylor, and he wrote this very dense and boring collection of books about British diplomatic history and European diplomatic history during the 19th and 20th centuries. Some of them are better than others. His Origins of the First World War is pretty good. But one thing he notes in his books on, say, the 1830s, the 1840s, the 1850s, and then the Victorian Age, and this period we think of being really quite nice. There weren't really many big wars. It was before industrialization was just awful, particularly in America. You had the American Civil War, but that didn't really affect Europe. It was this period of glory and triumph and national prosperity and wealth and these glorious achievements abroad in the colonies. But underlying that all was the Concert of Vienna and the Concert of Europe, where there had to be constant efforts from the governments in charge and the ruling aristocracies and the middle classes to not let socialism break out into the open. There had to be dedicated effort for the great century of national prosperity in Europe to just stop communism from happening. It took a lot of effort. That struggle was always there. The resentment was always there. There was the constant fight to keep it at bay. And I just don't think there's any getting out of that. Ever since modern leftism, this entropy, this fight for equality and egalitarianism was unleashed on the world by the French Revolution. There is either that, and because it's a force of entropy, it's in line with nature and that it's always trying to happen and it's always trying to break down what bonds it can, and by breaking them down, it can continue. So if you're going to resist that, if you're going to stop it from destroying everything, you have to just constantly maintain pressure and constantly fight back, because otherwise it will win, even in the good periods. And so you can try and stop there from being this just outright hostility and near civil war feeling like we have now. And you can certainly go after the Antifa cells or the John Brown Gun Club cells and crack down on them like the Weather Underground and Black Liberation Army should have been cracked down upon. But the spirit, I think, remains and must constantly be fought. And because of the nature of it and the way it resides in some men's souls, that is just an attrition war, sadly, by its very nature, and so it has to happen.
But the thing is that regardless if juries would throw things out or judges might dismiss, doesn't Trump and the DOJ owe it to the American people to at least start locking some people up and let the courts tip their hands even more? Instead of just turning a blind eye or just getting one or two of these dirtbags off the street every once in a while. Because if you start hammering 100, 200, 300 arrests, word's going to get out. And yes, they might get let out, may not, but there might be residual impacts where people are like, oh, wait, I might not want to get cuffed. Oh, there might be a consequence, right? Mm-hmm. But like otherwise, people like, I could do whatever the hell I want to do in the streets, and I may or may not, I can possibly not get shot if I don't act like an asshole, right? If they don't act like an asshole, you probably won't get shot. Let's be honest here, or detained. But like, I think the American people want to see cuffs at this point. The ones that are at least the 5-on-5, the 5 on our side, we want to see people in cuffs because we know if our side was doing this, we would all be in cuffs now. It wouldn't even be close. And that's the frustration, the hypocrisy that we're seeing out of the Biden DOJ, what they were able to do. But Trump and Pam Bondi and this DOJ seems to not get anything really right. It's quite fascinating. What's your take on Pam? Let's just go there. What's your take on Pam?
Oh, I would, if I were Trump, I would have just put Eric Prince in charge of the resistance to leftism strategy on day one and said, it's a whole of government effort. This is what we're doing. You handle it because you're one of the few competent people at a high level in America right now. And I don't think Pam is that competent woman. I mean, what was she doing before she was in the Trump administration? She was the one who tried to prosecute for George Zimmerman for defending himself when Trayvon Martin was smashing his head into the concrete. That's Pam Bondi's background. So I think she's awful. I think that woman Susan Wiles, or Susie Wiles, who runs Trump's whatever her internal position is, where she limits the flow of people to him, I think she's awful, and both of them have to go, probably as does Cash. But yeah, anyway, I think they're awful and need to go. I don't know who the better one would be. I guess Gates might have been better. But this is another thing where you run into the bureaucratic nature of the system, into the immensity of the enemy we face, where Bondi is awful. She should be gone and be replaced with someone better. But if someone better were available, would the Senate even confirm him? Probably not. So then you just get the succession of 30-day figures who kind of do a little bit for 30 days until they have to leave. It's infuriating. So anyway, Pam's awful. I don't know who she could be replaced with right now, though. Yeah.
Do you ever hear the left or the Democrats have these defeatist conversations like this, though, about their internal cabinet? I've never this.
They take out the people who aren't complying and take them behind the shed, which is, there's a lot to learn from them. And they're evil people and they're pedophiles, but you have to absolutely respect your enemy and respect their ruthlessness. They don't have this whole wishy-washy. What's that meme, the stone toss meme of, the guy look at the other and he goes, can you imagine the outrage if the Republicans did it? And then it zooms out and they're on their knees handcuffed in a gulag with an AK to their head, because that's what's coming. And here's another thing that's important, and all the military guys, I don't have to convince them of it, they know, but I have to talk to other people who are like me. I've never served in the military. I have a biology degree. It took me 6 years of this podcast and almost 2,000 episodes to get to the point where I'm at, where for the first 5 years I really was like, this can't be the move. This is what, rolling in armored trucks and shooting people. And eventually you have to come to the conclusion that you don't have to like it with your heart and soul. You don't have to go, yeah, shoot them. You can look at it as I did. And after Renee Good was shot and after the guy was shot yesterday, the first thing I did was I said a prayer, because at some level I want to maintain who I am. Do I think that they shouldn't have been shot? No. I think they absolutely should have. It doesn't mean that you have to cheer it on. It doesn't mean that you have to froth at the mouth. But at a certain point, you have to realize that waving your little flag of morality does nothing to stop the inevitable. And at a certain point, it's the hijacked plane thing. You can look at it and go, those are really shitty options, man. We either shoot it down and nothing happens, or we either do nothing, it crashes and it kills people in the building and the plane, or we shoot it down, but then we got to kill those innocent people. This is just sucks, dude. It does suck. You don't have to go, I love shooting down planes. But at a certain point, you have to grow up and go, these are the two options in front of us, and it sucks. And if you have to answer to God for that, God knows in your heart what your intentions were. Were you a bloodthirsty psychopath, or did you truly believe that you were making the most of a shitty situation? And I think that is where people like myself, who don't have a military, and again, the reason I'm saying that is because you don't need to convince any of the military guys. They don't care. They're like, yeah, shoot them all. It's just, what it is. It's awesome. But like, you have to look at from where we are. Yeah, man, you can look at that and go, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. That dude and that woman, they had parents. They took their first steps once. They, said mama and dada for the first time. You can still look at them and see their soul. You don't have to grow devil horns. But at another point, you have to go, you've seen, back to my opening rant, you've seen their plans for you. They're not you've seen their actions towards you. And that's what's coming. So I don't, you're right, Pat. It was a perfect observation. You don't see this defeatism talk on their side because they look at the stakes and they go, yeah, you remove the traitor, not one step back. That's what needs to go. Trump needs to remove cash, needs to remove how many positions can Stephen Miller hold? Can he give them all of them? I'm at that point where I'm like, do that, dude. Give him the Eisenhower treatment. That you're the Supreme Allied Commander of everything. Here's 10 stars. That's legitimate. Eric Prince, Pete Hegseth, Joe Kent, Stephen Miller. Give them the reins, dude. Give them the reins. And you can the criticism of this is like, oh, so you think the way to get to this point is killing. You don't have to be cheering it on. You don't have to, but at a certain point you have to look at it and go, yeah, hey man, General Patton used to write in his journal every night after the battles, and he would specifically write to St. Michael, the Guardians of the Gates, and say, I killed a lot of men today. Most of them probably deserved it. There were probably some that did. General Patton, did he stop the next day? No, because he knew it had to be done. But did you have to abandon this idea that by simply confessing your repulsion to murder makes you some? I have family members or friends like, well, after that shooting in Minneapolis, I think it needs to end. Huh? What? We got to stop it now because you know what? On D-Day alone, do you know how many planes just lost track because of cloud cover and accidentally bombed towns? That sucks, man. That sucks. Does it mean that we just call the whole thing off and go home? You can feel moral about yourself for a little while, but the inevitable comes home to you. It's what it is, man. It's what it is, and I'm projecting more of my own wrestling I've had with this over the years of where I go, it has to happen. It has, and some people are going to cheer it on. Some people are, and that's not great, man. It's also not great to cheer on Charlie Kirk's death. Like that's not great, but that's also not going away. You have to act ruthlessly. You've seen this isn't a theoretical. This is who they are. God bless that bullet missed Trump. God bless Elon decided to buy Twitter. I mean, dude, we are living on a couple threads of good luck that somehow the sweater didn't break. It's somehow holding together. And we should be throwing everything we have into stitching it back up instead of going, well, we got through it. It's like, no, you didn't. That bullet clipped his ear. Elon didn't have to buy this. What are you talking about? What happened to Charlie Kirk was supposed to be Trump. Understand where you are. And you go, well, you just, that's weird to hate people just because they're left-leaning. I'm not against left-leaning people. I'm against these people that have called for, hey, what was that thing with the dudes and bras and thongs lap dancing in front of 2-year-olds, and it had a neon sign. It said, don't be scared, lick it. And you had parents cheering them on. This is who they are. That wasn't an exception. These people are pedophiles, and they're mutilating their children to the god of progressiveness. So I'm sorry that guy got shot. I'm sorry that woman got shot. I genuinely, on my brother's grave, I hope their souls are cared for by Christ Almighty. You know what this is. You know where this is going. If you don't act now, you're either legitimately mentally retarded, and I'm not trying to be funny. You actually don't comprehend what's going on in the same way I can't possibly comprehend string theory, or much worse, you do comprehend it and you are actively choosing cowardice. You should be shot too. This is an entertainment program legally. That wasn't inciting violence. But yeah, so sorry, Stephen Miller for all positions is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like how, like Trump, right? Controlled by Bondi. Can he get her out? But
today.
he won't. He won't. Why?
I
The
think he knows
rotating
he can't
door
replace her with anyone.
Then he's castrated as a president, and he knows that.
Precisely, which means
If
then you
his
have to
deal-
prepare
if he
accordingly. Then you must prepare accordingly for the fact that our lives, as we know it, are most likely going to end around 2029. Prepare accordingly.
Like if he knows his DOJ is if he's castrated at the DOJ, which it seems like to be, because we have not seen major arrest in a year plus time since he's been in power of anybody. Fauci, Mayorkas, right? You can go through a list of easy slam dunk ones that they could actually throw just to give us a little, oh, they're doing their job. All right. They're doing their job. All right. They haven't given us anything. So I legitimately think Trump is kneecapped by his own DOJ, and that's Bondi.
Which is cowardice, because you can't kneecap the commander in chief. There's no one to go. It's above my pay grade. He is at the desk. The buck stops there. There's no one to go, well, my boss. You're the president, dude. In 4 minutes and roughly 240 seconds from any given moment, you can launch nuclear weapons at anything on the planet. You're in control. Ain't nobody kneecapping you. You cannot send in Delta Force using God knows what level technology and making people bleed from their eyes and ears. You can't go do that. Show the impunity of the military might on a global level, and then turn around and go, well, Walt said no. What is it, man? Do you have the balls to go kidnap a president of a narco state, which is hardcore as... That's my only hope. Is that he's shown that he will do some hardcore stuff. And I hate the idea of 5D chess, because I think even that is complacency and pacification. But if I'm allowed to hope, I said this to you last week, Pat, I think they want like 20 or 30 ICE agents to get killed in Minneapolis. And you will have people on the right who are a little squeamish. You will have them shut up very quickly and say, roll in with tanks.
I mean, that's
not right either.
Putin took over Russia. If you remember the thing with the FSB in 2001,
correct.
Whatever that was.
Correct. Yeah, Chechnya. Yeah.
Will, I was going to ask your take on what Tommy just said, because there was a lot there.
I mean, I'd love to see it happen. Like if Delta Force captured Newsom and Waltz, that'd be great. I just don't see it happen.
That'd be the coolest thing in the world.
It'd be great.
Live
Use
stream that.
The, like electronic feed is to make all the protesters collapse, like the Cuban mercenaries. That would be awesome. Yeah, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I think right now their best chance for a big action would be hiring Eric Prince to do the 12 million deportations thing, because people forget this, but Blackwater never even had a principal they were protecting injured in Iraq during the height of the Iraq War.
I've had on Blackwater mercenaries, yeah.
Yeah, they were like really good at their job, particularly compared to the military, which was very ineffective at that sort of thing. Similarly, Blackwater was deployed to New Orleans after Katrina, and there are crazy stories of them shooting gangbangers to just pacify the city during that. So you can totally get stuff like that happening, and it would probably be salutary, particularly the deportations and dealing with the mobs. Just as Tommy noted, I think you need the right inciting incident, and some scuffles and fistfights with protesters probably aren't that. They should have done it when Charlie was shot, and they should have done it when the ambush that Antifa tried carrying out on the ICE agents somewhere in Texas, I think Brownsville, happened. They didn't do it, which was a big mistake. But you need some inciting incident like that to make that sort of thing actually work. And they haven't had it yet, at least in my opinion.
And I legitimately think that's what they're waiting for. I think the Trump administration, I think they want something, because even Charlie Kirk, you could still, to a degree, argue technically that was just one dude. Like you could theoretically argue that. What you need is what it is now, which is constant in your face. There's 1 trillion hours of video coming out every minute from Minneapolis.
Right.
I think, and this sucks, because ultimately this still stems from cowardice. Because a real leader would go, I'm not waiting for this to happen. I'm going to crush them like the bugs they are. I think what they want is, an ICE SUV on fire with a bunch of burning corpses inside. I think they want videos of kind of like Mogadishu. I think they want bodies of people being pulled through the street to crush it, which itself is weakness. You should go and do that anyway. But I think that's what it is.
You feel that?
And to what you're saying about, and Pat, you're saying if this was us, we'd all be in handcuffs. And what Will's just saying about Blackwater shutting down, quelling the city through shooting people, and how funny would it be if Delta Force did this to Waltz or Newsom? Now take all of those and understand that all of those, 100% of those examples will be happening in the next 3 years, just from the other side.
Yeah,
They will all be happening.
I'll come visit you, buddy.
There will be no visiting. What are you talking about?
Hey, the execution right away. I think they might cuff you first. I'll come visit you.
My point is, no, there won't be that. There won't be. I told you so. There will be no. You won't know it's the end. There'll be no. It's not a movie. You're not going to see the loose ends get tied up and all the plot arcs come together right as the music score hits. It'll be a weird noise in the middle of the night, and that's it. It's the end of Sopranos. You're not going to see. It'll just go black.
Oh, black screen it. Okay,
that's what it is.
We're just going black screen.
Understand where it is, man.
Now, see, I don't think they would kill all of us right away. I think there will be a hierarchy of what they would do to who they would get. I think some would go to jail.
They'll start killing at the very top, and then work their way down.
Yeah, you can't kill everybody right away. You just can't. And then you can't. I hope not, anyway. But no, Tommy, I get you.
Killed 150 million people last century alone.
I hear you. Believe me, I understand, Tommy.
150 is roughly half the United States. So I'd say, yeah, they can.
Americans still have their guns, and we still have the two-way.
That's gotten us very far to this point. That stopped the 2020 election.
So it's not full-fledged there yet, but I believe
no one's using their guns. No one's using. The only thing you'll ever see from people with guns are posting memes. They're gonna all post the Rambo meme. The most dangerous man is a man who wanted to be left alone. How you gonna keep tweeting that, jerking each other off, going, wait till they come out to rural America. They're gonna roll out to rural America, and they'll do nothing.
So, is divestment an option? Is there a way we could just split?
No.
No, it's all or nothing.
You don't let cancer take half your body and you take the other half.
I'm just trying to.
I understand that. I'm not trying
to find out an off ramp here.
I'm with you, man. I get it. Dude. I totally understand. I totally understand. I'm not attacking you. I'm with you, man. No part of me wants this. No part of me is like I want a taste for war again. I don't want any of this, dude. I would like a wife, kids, and a dog. Like that's my life arc. I like the podcast to keep going, right? Racist. Yeah, and I'd like a dog. Like that's my grand arc. This has to be done, though, man. We're in a spot where this has to happen. I don't want it.
I agree with you, but it doesn't seem like those wheels are moving that way, and that's the frustration I feel within myself because I know what the left can do to people. They've destroyed lives. They kill people. I understand that. I've been on the back end of it. I have friends on the back end of it. You've been on the back end of it, Joe, right? Like it's a real thing. What I have issues with is that people that are associated, like friends that are associated with my wife. My wife has friends that are leftists, that are Democrats, okay? They know what happened to our family because of the left's political bullshit. They don't care, right? Like they won't change their mindset of being a leftist right? So like, unfortunately, they're enemies of mine. And that's where we are in America. Like it's hard to say that out loud, but it's the reality. Like if you're gonna vote for something that came from my livelihood and came to cancel me from my family, you're an enemy of my family and I. And that's just the way it is. Because their ideological principles trump just basic fundamental rights in this country. And that's gonna destroy America when that comes to power. Feelings and emotions trump principle and law is just game over here. And you guys saw what they did in Virginia, right? The moderate governor that just, I'm a moderate. Did you see some of the shit she's ramming through with the taxes, reclaiming arms, no more hand counting ballots? Why would that be one of your first acts coming into power in taking over the governorship and the state house? And one of the first bills you're going to ram through is make sure we don't have the ability to hand count ballots anymore. Like, yeah. Will, thoughts?
That's why Trump should just get rid of Nova. Virginia is fixable if they just got rid of all the different departments that are headquartered in Arlington and DC and had those people be fired and go away. But yeah, Virginia's horrible. The new governor, Spanberger, is awful, as are all the hacks who work for her. And it shows the GOP complicity because Virginia was a winnable state. I mean, the old governor Youngkin was basically fine. He wasn't great, but the GOP then ran the retarded Jamaican woman who was an ever-Trumper. And of course you're going to lose. I mean, I live in rural Virginia. No one here wanted to vote for that idiot. She was terrible. And so, I mean, I went and voted anyway because I hated Spanberger and Jay Jones, who's the one who fantasized about killing white children.
Yep.
But the GOP is terrible and is complicit and is an enemy that must also be worked against if we're going to reclaim anything. But, you know, even in East Germany during the Cold War or South Africa now or Brazil now, a lot of this stuff is bad, but is recoverable, I think. So I'm not as much a doomer as Tommy on some of this.
No. I'm not. The reason I say all this is because if I was a doomer, I wouldn't be on the show. I wouldn't make an announcement that I was no longer doing a show. You would just slowly realize, like, where's Tommy been? And it's because I would have liquidated all my savings buying weapons and, like, go out to the boonies. That's what doomer Tommy would be. The reason I'm actually vehemently, like, ontologically against dooming. I think it's weakness. The reason I'm saying everything I'm saying is because I still believe we can win. And what I'm saying is it's a shitty locker room pep talk. I'm not saying it because the game's over. I'm saying it because we've still got another quarter left. If we go out there, we can kick the dog shit out of them. That's why I'm saying it. It's because, like, it can be done. We can still win. That's why I'm so blunt about it.
I agree with you, Tommy. There's a lot though, but even Will just brought it up. The GOP, right? Like, we don't play to win.
You know, this is beyond. Paul, I wasn't kidding when I said Stephen Miller, Joe Kent, Eric Prince. You have to, dude. This is beyond over-the-counter antibiotics. Like, you have to go into surgery.
That's playing to win.
You have to roll out the Insurrection Act. You have to pull out the Sedition Act. You have to pull out the Espionage Act. You got to take the Hatch Act. All this shit, dude. They're going to call me a Nazi. It's the meme. You get called a Nazi and lose your country. Get called a Nazi and save your country. No matter what, they're going to call you a Nazi and hate you.
Yeah. So do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's just beyond courts. There's a great Duncan Trussell. He's one of the funniest comedians. I love him. He's just so total lefty liberal hippie, but he's funny and I love him. But even he had a point of I found him through Joe Rogan, but even he had a point. He was like, he even has like a total lefty, like, white guy dreadlocks. Because, you know, Gandhi was writing these letters to the Emperor of Japan during World War II. He's saying, only you can end this madness. You and you alone can end this. He goes, and you know what ended World War II? It was the white hot flash of a sun dropped from America. Sometimes you got to come back down to reality. All right? That's what it is.
Yeah. Well said. Hey, Will, where can our viewers find you and follow you?
Yeah, so check me out on X, where I post a lot at Will_Tanner_1. And then on Substack at theamericantribune.news, where I talk about stuff like the Weather Underground and stuff like Rhodesia and South Africa, kind of my main topics I hit.
Spreading the word, open the eyes, spreading the wisdom. And please, guys, great conversation today with Will. Take a follow. I dropped him into the chat. I'll drop his Substack also into the chat so you guys could take a look. But Will, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm sorry Joe wasn't here today. I will let him know how great of a guest you are. I hope you would definitely consider coming back and being on with Joe.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in today, man. Totally awesome combo. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Appreciate you, Will.
Woo. Tommy, how'd you come across Will?
Through EM Burlingame we've had on the show.
Okay.
So many of my guests have just, I mean, there's like 10 original guests from my show, and everything since then is just a daisy chain of recommendations and friends of friends of friends. So I don't even remember where like last week you asked me, you're like, where'd you get Jane Marie? And I was like, I don't know.
Well, I'm curious, man.
Yeah. No, Will's cool. I like Will. Will's much more measured and calm than I am.
Well spoken, understands it. Very matter of fact. Very matter of fact.
Yeah, I like Will.
And so do I. So do I. And dude, it's just crazy what we're in the middle of. It really is. It's a war on the streets. It's a war online. It's a war on culture, right? It's a war everywhere. So have you seen the new Signal chat that's out there? That guy.
Yeah, I can't. I've had to unplug a little bit from Twitter over the last couple of days just because it's so chaotic. I have to kind of, and I'm against putting my head in the sand, but I'm doing shows about it and I'm putting that out there, and that's my contribution. I gotta delete the app from my phone after I do shows, and I download it the next day. But I've seen just Signal. What is happening? What was leaked?
All right, so Cam Higbee apparently infiltrated the Minnesota Fast Response Signal chat. We could put up A2, Damon, and then we're going to play the video of it. But he's saying right here, here's almost a minute long scrolling through Southside Minneapolis Rapid Response ICE Chaser Signal Group. You can see them actively check plates, call intersections, and chase agents. This is organized obstruction. And now, before we talk about it, I want to actually play the video now of him scrolling through this. So, Damon, if you could play that video for us so we could actually see this. It's quite fascinating. You see them there? They're checking plates, texting each other. Now, they also have emojis on there, like cars and smoke screens. Those are actual, it's coding for actual, like, your role on the street. You could be like an observer. You could be someone that chases an agent. You could be a whistleblower, right? So, like, all these things are just so intertwined, and they're doing it over a Signal chat. And they get cops' plates numbers, they feed it into the system, and somehow they're able to find it and actually dox it and track it where it's going and where it's been and an address. It's absolutely amazing.
Go back.
So that's what's going on Signal chat with Minneapolis First Safety Response, whatever the hell they call themselves now. But that's what they're doing. That's how they're communicating, passing information along. And apparently there's representatives within the Minnesota government, specifically out of Tampon Tim's office, that are in these chats as well, possibly help facilitating this information.
See my opening rant. You've seen who they are. Again, I remember growing up, like I was born in '90. Vaguely remember, like, being in my grandparents' car and them listening to Rush Limbaugh, and I didn't have political affiliations at 10. I didn't care. It was more of I just didn't want to hear anything.
Right.
And they'd be like, the leftists are coming. This is like pre 9/11. I just remember even then. And it wasn't that I was left or right. It was just like I didn't want to hear. Why are we at a constant state of war? It's like a random day. I'm like I want to go play in like the creek behind the house. Like, but yeah, no, man. So my point is back then it was very easy to dismiss someone and be like, yeah, dude, you're just screaming and you're hating. And to a large extent, it was true because nothing happened. We're at a point where my point is that's not where we are. That video is what's from that today, yesterday.
Those chats are locked down.
Okay, so forget my whole opening rant where I talked about the last 5 years. All that. Let's say the last 5 to 10 hours. This is who they are. This isn't a theoretical. This isn't 10-year-old me hearing Rush Limbaugh screaming and me just being like, who is this guy? Why is he being so mean? Like, this is happening. Yeah. And that's what they're doing, not in power. That is the boldness and the efficacy. It's one thing to have the ability and to not do it because you're a wimp. It's the other thing to do it. It's one thing to have boldness but not be good at it. Like, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how good of a weightlifter you are. That doesn't make you better at organic chemistry. Like, but to have the combination of bold, you have to respect your enemy. The boldness to do it and the efficacy to actually make a difference. And they're not in power. They're doing this on a Signal chat. Guys.
Yeah, buddy.
What do you think is coming if they get back in power?
Dude, it's a wash. I know it's going to be a wash.
Which is why, so if you know that is coming with near certainty, you then have to become ruthless to stomp it out. Because at this point, it's not ideology. It's one of you's on top of the hill, the other's getting thrown off. It is the most basic Darwinian selection.
The issue is, though, you're doing everything you can do. I'm doing everything I could do, but we don't move the needle too much. I'm fighting in the courts. We're talking online, right? We get the information out there, but ultimately the decisions and the people that need to make the decisions to stop the shit that's happening refuse to stop the shit that's happening. And that's where I'm getting fed up with. Because at the end of the day, we need, I hate to say this, but at the end of the day, we need people above us to do their goddamn job to clean up this shit. Otherwise, we're going to be eating shit in 2 to 4 years.
You should prepare for both. What Trump needs to do is understand that he's the commander-in-chief with sweeping powers to do everything. Go read Raven Rock by Garrett Graff about the whole continuity of government system, specifically Eisenhower and Kennedy. Man, the laws have been, and secret laws, not laws you know about, they've been written and ready to go for 60 years for the president to not just censor stuff. There are pre-appointed czars for them to shut down all industry and reform them under 13 government departments for full wartime activity. There are plans for the UPS trucks to be used as mobile morgues during an attack. This has been going on since the 60s. My point is the president the cabinet is full of tools. You have them. Trump can use them. Now, so where does that leave us? So we just sit here and wishing for Trump? I'm with you. That's a futile point. So what do we do?
Right.
Actively, I have a biology degree, dude. I'm not some survivor. What can I do? Got a couple guns. I've got some food. I keep my gas in my... seriously, make peace with the Lord and do what you can where you can. I'm doing it on I get emails all the time, man, and honestly, they're more meaningful than the people who give me money. I'm not even kidding. Or the people who email me and go like, "Hey, dude, your thing helped me during." Like, you are moving the needle. Me and my cousin listen to you. So you, Pat, you have no idea how much you're moving the needle. And that's the thing is, we're all moving the needle a little bit, and that's all you need to do. So keep doing what you can do, what I can do in our immediate universe. Pray that the Lord gives Trump some balls, and understand that that's a lot of that's out of your hands. And so understand, well, you have to start thinking about the unthinkable. Well, what is going to happen if they get back in power? There's not going to be a signal chat about ICE. That's very quickly going to be a signal chat about, I don't know, leading podcasters. And they'll start with the top ones, and they'll eventually move down to the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And that'll be us.
Yeah,
so
and
understand
then they show
that.
up at your house.
Exactly. And by then, there's going to be no, like, I wish I had. No, you have to and it sucks. It would be so much easier if I was like a Green Beret veteran. I was like, I don't want it to come to this, but ultimately I'll just shoot my way out of it. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, same.
Make peace with the Lord. Get a gun.
I do.
Yeah, man. It's like, what do we do? There's some pretty bad options, man. Ultimately, this is like super big pictures. I don't believe that God put us in a position to not have what is supposed to happen. Be it means America gets saved or it means you die at a no-knock rate at 3 a.m. I truly believe everything that unfolds in this life is by God's divine will. That's me personally. You got to make peace with your creator. I've been interrupting you nonstop today,
You're
Pat.
good, brother. You haven't been interrupting anything. This has been engaging dialogue. Our viewers are liking it too, so we're getting the message out there. So one thing we can't control, but one thing that's happening is that President Trump and Tampon Timmy Boy had a conversation today. Did you hear about that? Tampon Tim.
I heard something about it, but it sounds like Trump capitulating.
A little bit. So one thing is Trump, if we could put up C2, Damon, Trump's sending Tom Homan up north to Minneapolis to be his man on the ground now. Tom Homan will be managing ICE operations on the ground in Minnesota to continue arresting the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. In addition, Tom will coordinate with those leading investigations into the massive widespread fraud that has resulted in billions of taxpayer dollars being stolen from law-abiding citizens in Minnesota. That's what Caroline Leavitt wrote on top of what Trump said about sending Homan into Minneapolis. He wants the welfare fraud investigated. He wants Ilhan Omar investigated. He also says that Homan will be reporting directly to him. No middleman, no in between, just one-on-one, Homan to Trump, Trump to Homan about what's going on in Minneapolis. Also, with the phone call Trump had with Tampon Timmy Boy, apparently there might be wiggle room where Tampon Timmy might hand over criminal illegals. Now, what are your thoughts, Tommy? Why did it have to get like this?
Crush him. Don't give him phone calls. Or give him a phone call. Say you have till midnight. Don't even say what or what. Just say you have till midnight. You don't even need his phone number. You're the president. You can just have the NSA put you on speaker on his phone. Scare the shit out. Just say, you have till midnight. Don't tell him what he has till midnight, and don't tell him what's coming on at midnight. Say you have till midnight, and then stop talking.
Well, Karen Levette also went out on a press conference and actually brought the nation up to speed. There's actually some list of demands Trump is making of Tampon Tim.
But why are you making demands? You're the president of the United States. You have the ability to kidnap the president of Venezuela. Make demands. You make demands when you go to a court and you gotta find a common ground. You know what demands are? Curtis LeMay, Secretary of the Air Force, World War II. My two favorite words: unconditional surrender. Not maybe if Japan bends the knee, we're gonna vaporize children in front of your face, and we will continue to do so. Make demands. That's disgusting. Trump's making demands.
Pam Bondi wrote a strongly worded letter last night, though. Pam Bondi wrote a
Fuck both of them.
Damon, C3, buddy. Play C3.
In Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning.
Go ahead, Tommy.
We hope. But you know what the last time Trump said "I hope" was January 6th when he tweeted, "I hope Mike Pence does the right thing."
Yeah, hope doesn't really
mean he's given up. No, it means he's given up. You hope.
Yeah, but
you're getting pushed back from a governor.
That's where we are, man.
It's nauseating.
And those aren't even hard demands. Those are like, you need to partner with federal immigration so we can get.
That's existing law.
You know,
it's not even a demand. It's an existing law. It's going
exactly.
That's Trump tweeting and going, "All right, I'll make them out, but from now on, it's illegal to drive drunk in your state." It's an existing law. What are you talking about? Trump legitimately needs to just. I mean, I'm not kidding, dude. Send in a gunship, mow down thousands of people, and say, "I'm saving the country."
This is where we're at, though. This is how we have to talk. We need to actually massage governors and mayors of these blue cities and states to try and want to work with us to give us criminal illegal aliens because people are being shot in the streets. Like, this is what we have to do. We have to massage them. We have to talk to them nicely. We have to send Tom Homan up there to, smooth it over with them.
There's a great song written during the Vietnam War. It's a guy on a banjo. It's a couple of GIs, and it's called "Napalm Sticks to Kids." That's what we need to be doing.
Just carpet bombing American cities?
Napalming.
Minneapolis, number one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've always never understood how sanctuary cities have these rights. I really don't understand how these cities have the rights.
The very fact that it's even a discussion. It's like, I think I said it to you maybe. It's the reason I always roll my eyes at the argument of like, should we or should we not have nuked Japan? Were they ready to surrender? Were they not? I don't think they were, but that's my own biases and that's my own. What do I know? I was born 45 years after. I have no idea. And I have my own reasons. My dad's dad was 18. He was going to be part of the mainland invasion. Most likely would have been mowed down, so I wouldn't exist. All right, fair enough. I don't think Japan was getting ready to surrender, but there's also a decent argument that they were. I always look at both of those arguments as completely null and void. It has nothing to do with whether or not they were getting ready to surrender and we should or shouldn't have. The reality was this, is we could do it, so we did. It's the people saying that kidnapping Maduro is against international law. International law is a decoration. What international law is we rolled up with a carrier strike group and we sent in Delta Force using Area 51 tech to melt people's brains in their head. That is reality. Whether or not they were getting ready to surrender in Japan doesn't matter. The reality is this: is we have the technical, industrial, and scientific capability to create nuclear weapons, and we had raped and molested their defenses to the point where they couldn't have shot down a balloon because they had nothing left. So we did it because we could, not because we should have, not because we shouldn't have, because we could. And that's the third option no one talks about is, well, should we or shouldn't? No. We did. That's it. It doesn't matter whether we should or shouldn't have kidnapped Maduro. We did. And the only reason we didn't is because there wasn't a bigger force. That's just what the world is, man. It's just what it is. Doesn't mean I revel in it. I wish that I legitimately hand on my... I wish there was world peace today. I'm not kidding when I say the first thing I did after Renee Good was shot and that the other guy was shot is I said a prayer. I said, God, please look over their soul. I don't revel in this. But the idea that there are sanctuaries sitting, you should or you shouldn't, none of those. There is power and there's not. So which then comes to, so it'd be one thing if Trump didn't have the power, and then you'd have to do all these negotiations. It'd be one thing if we were at parity with 1945 Japan, that we were just as hollowed out and that we were barely fighting each other with whatever bullets we had left. And we know for a fact that the U.S. military is capable of this and that the president has this power. So then what? Then we can, I don't know, maybe wrap this in a bow with what Truman said with, I believe, what General Leslie Groves said. He was head of the Manhattan Project to Truman when he was debating whether or not to use the A-bomb. And he said, you don't have to. You are the president. You are the commander-in-chief, and we probably can break them through a conventional forces invasion. But what you need to do now, Mr. President, is you need to start drafting your resignation speech for when the American people find out next summer that you could have done it and you didn't. Because it will eventually come out that you had the ability and you chose not to. And that is where Trump is right now. He has the ability and he is choosing not to. You know what I think I said it to you, the innermost circle of hell in Dante's Inferno? The innermost, the bottom of the bottom, the worst of the worst, the basement's basement is treachery. It is betraying your own people. And that is what he is doing. Full stop. It's easy for you to say, make me the president, I will nuke Minneapolis today. These people. These are horrible people. These are people who shut people down, who were hesitant to get a vaccine that was giving them 2-foot-long blood clots, who cheered on the mutilation of children's genitals. These are evil people. These are genuinely, to their core, evil people. Treat them as such.
We're still waiting. You believe it needs to still get worse before Trump will act. Right?
I think Trump's waiting for it to get worse. I don't believe it gets worse. I think this should have ended 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But 70 years ago. McCarthy was right. We should have rolled in with tanks in LA in the 50s.
Yeah, but this is what happens when you let things fester, right? Just
Correct.
let it fester,
Very
breathe,
true. Very
reorganize.
true.
You know?
You eventually have to pay the piper. The tax man cometh eventually.
Yeah, and it didn't get ripped out then. Now look where it is now. And they're close to ripping us out, dude. And they will do it because they don't. I agree with you, dude. They're evil. They don't give a shit. They will steamroll and get what they want. It's full power, no stopping it.
Best case scenario, if they don't do it to us, it's because there's a couple hiccups and some unforeseen speed bumps. It won't happen to you or I. It'll happen to your son.
I know. I 100% know that.
And I know you know that. And I'm not. This is an attack on you. This is that, and that's. I don't have kids, but I look at this and I'm like, if it doesn't happen to me, it's happening to whoever's left. The very reason we're dealing with this shit is because the men in the generation above ours didn't. I love my parents dearly. I don't think it's right to call boomers bad. I think that's stupid. It's just as stupid as blanket racism. It's smartest dude I ever knew is black. It's we are where we are because men didn't act like men.
Well, that generation was like go along to get along type deal. Feeling right.
I don't even blame them. You're born in post-war economic boom. That's why the reason I don't hate not to go off on a tangent. The reason I don't hate the boomers is comedian Ray Kump said it. You would have taken the candy too if you were alive then. If you were born in 1960, and there's no hindsight, you didn't have the internet to talk and learn about all this. You were born in the 60s and it's the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and smoking weed and it cost 10 cents to buy a house. You would have done it too. That's why I can't be mad at them because I would have done it too. If we, think I would have been like, no, this is immoral. No, you don't have a time machine. You don't know what's coming. You would have absolutely taken the free shit. So I can't even be mad at them in that sense.
Yeah, but
where we are now is we know that it's bad. And now we are cognitively and consciously choosing to either act on it or don't act on it. And if you don't, hey man, you might be able to live your life out. It'll be your son.
Buddy, you don't have to tell me.
I know you know.
I know you. Talk to my
if everybody
wife
listening that thinks this isn't me attacking, I love Pat. This is not me attacking Pat. I'm preaching to the choir. This isn't me lecturing Pat. Yeah, I know
I'm
you
well
know.
aware. Dude, I talk to my wife about this more often than she wants me to. She's tired she's tired of me talking about it, but he is my primal focus.
Good.
Like,
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
I do not need him walking around having a target on his back because he's a white male. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But that's how they're going to make it freaking work when we're gone. And that's not, no. And dude, they have they have their shock troops. They got their dude, I'll give them credit. Their organization is they know what they're doing.
Top notch. Respect your enemy. Top notch.
Dude, they know what they're doing. They are funded. They are organized. They know how to communicate. They dox the shit out of these ICE agents. They find where they are. They vandalize the hotels they're staying in. They're vandalizing the cars at the hotels now, dude. They are fully functioning, operational. So once again, DOJ, come get them. Start locking these assholes up. Pull up this clip, Damon C4. This is from last night. Last night outside a Minneapolis hotel. You see the aftermath of what happened to cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Just busting out the windshields, spray painting them, slashing tires, all because they might be ICE vehicles. Some of these plates might have been linked to ICE. I didn't know all of it, but just look what they do. No repercussions whatsoever, just able to go do that. Yeah, you can't do this.
There is no more reason not to do this, man.
No,
there's no more reason for Trump not to do this. And
I got one for you. You see the agent that got his finger bit off over the weekend? Yep. Let's put that up, Damon. Federal agent had his finger bit off by an anti-ICE rioter in Minneapolis. There you go. And yes, I understand this dude got shot. I understand that. This stuff should not be happening in the streets whatsoever. Just take a look. Dude lost his finger. It's in the jar right there. They're the two that are arrested for it, at least. At least they got people charged, which is nice to see. But yeah, side note, my buddy was there. My friend is an ICE agent. He was responding to that situation where the ICE agent got his finger bit off. He goes, it's absolutely chaotic down here. It's not just white women liberal. It is more military-aged men now showing up, and they are brandishing guns and flashing them in the crowds. Like, it is well known that people are openly carrying now in these protests, which, mind you, just thinking back, remember in 2020 during the summer, love, BLM, remember the rich white family that was standing out in front of their home with their AR? Weren't they charged in Minneapolis for that?
Yeah, man. I respect what the left is doing thoroughly.
It's crazy, man. I respect it too. I hate it, but I do respect it.
No, I respect it entirely. I respect Japan. I respect Pearl Harbor. I respect the the fanatical nature of the kamikaze pilots, I genuinely, hand on my heart, respect it. There's also the one way to deal with it, and it's with a nuclear weapon so hot it melts women's brains in their skulls before it vaporizes them, which is a fact. So I respect it. I respect a rabid dog who's not taking no shit. You know, a dog comes near you, you're supposed to make yourself big, and most dogs run away. You ever seen a dog that doesn't give a I respect that. I respect that the dog doesn't care. Now I'm going to beat the shit out of it with a shovel and break its neck, but I do respect it. You can respect the left. I respect them thoroughly. You have to shoot all of them.
The thing is, they're useful idiots. I respect the organization from the top of the left. I don't respect the shock troops and the useful idiots on the ground. I don't respect those idiots
I can call them
whatsoever.
useful idiots. I think that's a convenient cop out for us because we don't like to really look it in the face. And what it is there are useful idiots, but what a lot of it is it's people with the balls to fight for what they believe in, and it's very convenient and comfortable for us to go, they're useful idiots. No. It's because you're looking in the mirror and the most you can do is send a tweet that says, wait until rural America gets involved. You're seeing what involvement looks like, and I respect the hell out of it. Now, they all have to be killed. But I respect that.
So if our government doesn't lock it up...
This is an entertainment program, and I'm speaking obviously in generalities. Generalities, yeah. There are a couple words I can...
It's a Northeast accent, buddy. I have the same thing.
There's another one I always... not important, but yeah. Spoiler alert. That one. I always have trouble with the spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
But like, we need to actually, then it's going to be man on man in the street. You and me picking up, going to the corner to fight these. Like, that's the only way this gets done if the DOJ doesn't and the military gets against these people. And yeah, they got balls. I give them credit. They got balls to actually get motivated, get dressed, get paid to go out there, right? They're not doing this free of their free volition, right? Like, there you are, paid middle of the day. These jerk-offs showing up on these signal chats. These people don't got jobs. Right? It's the organizational flow of cash that's coming down to them. This is their job. So there you go. Do they have balls, or are they being paid to do this, Tommy? Because we know the money. Is it really the I love what I believe here, or is it because the cash flow from Soros is coming in?
That guy doesn't love his son. His wife is paying him to defend him. Soros? Or do you look at it and go, no? I'm using an example. That father doesn't actually love his son. He's being paid to defend his son. I don't give a what the example is. If the dude with the son can't defend his son, you can rationalize it however you want. There's a man doing action, and there's an excuse of a man. You can call whatever you want. You can say he's getting paid. Maybe he is. We got to get a paycheck. We're only defending the country we live in. And by the way, it's not a random country. It is the bulwark against global tyranny. If it falls, the entire planet falls. And it goes dark for, I don't know, minimum half millennia at best, if not a full-on gigacide from a thermonuclear war. There's no reason not to. This isn't a backwards... I went to Valdosta State University for 2 years, and it was a dog shit school. And I didn't have to fix it. What I did is I transferred out and went to a bigger, better school. There's no transferring out here. You're at the best.
I agree.
He's only doing it because he's getting paid.
Yeah. Well,
that's it.
But they're useful idiots too, though. Like, you can say they got balls, but they're idiots too. They're useful idiots too, because I got this.
Okay, so then the useful idiot is still okay. Then the useful. So now what's the explanation? My IQ's higher. That's why I'm not fighting for what I believe in.
No, I believe Republicans don't want to get involved. I believe the people on the right don't want to go to the streets because we know what's going to happen to us.
It's cowardice. And what happens if we don't go? And what happens if we don't go to the streets?
The same thing's going to happen.
Exactly.
The same thing.
So at a certain point, it's cowardice. If you know it's happening now, or if you can put it off for a week,
it's going to be the same end. Yeah.
Not the same end, because one of them can prevent the total end.
But no one's getting motivated to go out there and do this, right?
Like
cowardice, complacency. It's not affecting me day to day yet, right? Like, people still have that mindset in America today. Like, to get up off.
Then you're a useful idiot.
Who?
If you can't see what's coming.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Not you. No, not you. If you're not doing anything and you see what's coming, it's cowardice. If you don't see what's coming, then you're a useful idiot.
Yeah. And outside is not motivating, right? Like, outside's not showing up to counter these protests anywhere. They're just letting them happen. because we're complacent.
Let's revisit, and this is not me attacking you. You either see what's coming, you understand what's at stake, and you can extrapolate a week, a month, a year, a decade into the future, and you don't do something. That's cowardice. If you can't see that, if you don't have the IQ to grasp what's going on, you're a useful idiot. So if you're a useful idiot and the left are useful idiots, but one of them is going out and doing something, then you're both useful idiots, but at least one of them's a useful idiot with balls.
Yeah.
Then
balls
goes back
win.
to one, cowardice.
And
there's no other, we can call it whatever we want. It comes down to cowardice at varying levels of IQ.
Fair. I can give you that.
This is me and Pat. For people that don't know, I love Pat. This is us bantering.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, I get riled up sometimes, and I start screaming, and I always have to remember, like, I don't want the person I'm talking to thinking I'm attacking.
Oh,
like,
no, I do the same thing.
I text Pat every day. No, yeah,
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So let's put up this clip, Damon, because we're talking about useful idiots. Did you see the one with the flashbang over the weekend?
No.
Oh, buddy, watch this clip, and then we'll talk about it. Damon, let's play C6. Here we go.
Medic.
Oh my God.
She needs a medic.
Oh my God.
Screaming in pain.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So she lost a couple of fingers, not her whole hand.
Why are they screaming medic?
Because
fucking Saving Private Ryan.
She picked up a flashbang.
No, I get that. Why are they saying medic? I understand the physical injury.
Okay.
Why are they saying medic?
Because they have medics on scene at these protests. That's part of their organization. Yes, they do.
They really like
Yes, they do.
I didn't know that. I apologize.
Yes, they do, brother.
That's impressive. Then
it goes back to the organizations. They have medics. They have car chases. They have shot callers. They have security. Like, they have different layers of all these different types of protocols or jobs people have at these protests, man. It is multi-layered. It is insane, the organization that they have for these protests. It's crazy, dude.
I respect the hell out of it.
It's fully operational. This is counterinsurgency, though. Like, this is this is sedition. This is treason. When you have citizens operating this way within your own country against your own federal government, it is what it is.
But there's no point in saying this anymore. I was in 2016, 2017. I was like, this is sedition. This is treason. This is. We're at a point now where it doesn't matter if we go. Can you look at them at a certain? It doesn't matter, man. The bullets are flying.
And now Minneapolis is the standard bearer, right? Like, how they're organized in Minneapolis.
Yeah. I'm sure no other city. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you. I'm sure no other cities will learn a lesson from this. Hey, even if the federal government sends in people, if you just fight back hard enough, they'll capitulate. Yeah, I'm sure this isn't incentivizing other places. Is Minneapolis the most radical place in the U.S.? Is it? No, I don't know. The cities of the biggest and most prosperous state, California, that has a bigger economy than Russia. You think this isn't going to follow suit? And I don't know. San Francisco, LA, where the population is an order of magnitude larger. You don't think this shit's going to keep going? You don't think this is going to happen? And I don't know. Who's that far right Republican that just became the mayor of New York City? Mom Donnie. Oh, yeah. You think this is going to stop there? You think if this isn't punished, that there's government officials allegedly aiding and abetting that signal chat? What do you think is going to happen when it's NYPD?
Oh, brother, did you see the rundown? Because the last clip I'm going to play for you right now.
Pat and I are twin flames.
A Colorado state senator, right out here, baby. Colorado state senator urges followers to join Colorado ICE resistance. Let's play it.
We grieve the death of Alex Jeffrey Preddy at the hands of ICE agents in Minnesota today. I don't think I'm the only one grappling with the conflicting emotions of grief, rage, and fear as we're witnessing masked ICE patrols gun people down in broad daylight and then label those victims as domestic terrorists. This isn't isolated to just Minneapolis, and it's not new. Those of us who have been organizing for ICE accountability for years have seen this coming. Immigrants, Muslims, trans folks, Anybody at the margins are canaries in the coal mines for how extremists seek to divide and conquer us. Well, here we are. So where do we go from here? Couple of tips that I want y'all to keep in mind. If you haven't already, sign up and attend a Know Your Rights training so that you are prepared on how to navigate interactions with ICE. Second, plug the Colorado Rapid Response Network into your phone and save it. If you see suspicious activity, call the hotline at 844-864-8341. Trained volunteers will help document and confirm what's going on. Colorado is home to a powerful movement that's been organizing to defend and advance immigrant rights for years. If you can, volunteer. If you're able, donate and support organizations doing the work on the ground.
So, Tommy, that was Colorado State Senator Julie Gonzalez. She represents Senate District 34 out here in Colorado, and that covers the northwest and downtown area of Denver. So she is openly calling for this. Sitting public official, state senator, so higher up than just in the regular state house, a little higher up. Senators, a little more weight behind it. She also physically has a lot more weight behind her. So, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do with these clowns? I know you say kill them, but we can't just walk up there and kill them because then we go to jail. So, Colorado's, by the way, we also have pictures that there are ICE vehicles possibly getting positioned in Colorado coming up. So who knows, we may be on the next stop on the train, and we have state leaders like this that are already promoting signal chats, Colorado Rapid Response. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I think it's back to the three things I said earlier. Number one, do what you can do in your immediate vicinity, in your immediate circle. For you, it's the court case. It's producing Untamed. It's being, by the way, a great stand-in host. It's me doing my podcast. Okay, that's your immediate circle. Networking. Do a lot of, try off the screen. I do a lot of networking, putting guests in touch with you. Use the power you have. I have a Rolodex, so I just know how to put people in touch. Okay, make those connections, and those spiral off into their own little movements. Second thing to do is, openly tweet, make your voice heard, make it known. I don't think it's all for naught to tweet your opinion. I really don't. I think that if it gets to a certain point, this is a theory I might have said to you. I really believe that I think Trump and Elon, I think Trump's using Twitter as a real-time gauge of U.S. It's a finger on their pulse. 50 years ago, you have to go out and do a straw poll. How do you feel about this? Versus now, you can get feedback in real time. And if Elon, let's say, removed 90% of the bots, and you go, okay, this is pretty accurate. I think that's what a lot of the DHS and the ICE tweets are about, like, reclaim your country. I think that those are test balloons. I think they throw them up. And they want to see just how many people are retweeting them positively, just how many people are tweeting, just track all of that. That's a real-time gauge of the public's opinion. So I think it means a lot to, and this comes back to the first point, do your podcast, do it well, get out, say your point. I really do think it's not for naught. You're not screaming into the wind. I really do believe that, and if the president doesn't have it, that's retarded. They should do it. You guys don't even need to give me credit. You should absolutely be using Twitter as a real-time straw poll of the American populace. So that's number two, is make sure you get your voice heard, blah, blah, blah. And that includes that's how we can say, Trump, act on this now. Now, Trump's going to do, that's beyond our control. What you can do is make your voice heard. And I really do believe has an effect. And then third is prepare for worst case scenario. And worst case scenario, so again, a lot of the guys interviewed Delta Force. When they say, like, ultimately, I don't care what happens, I got a place in the woods and I'll survive, they will. They will. They are grizzly bears in a land of chihuahuas. They'll survive. You and I, unfortunately, are chihuahuas in that we don't have that training, we don't have that background. It's just what it is. So you have to make plans for the absolute worst, which is have some food, have some water, have some ammunition, have a place to at least try to go, and die on your feet. And lastly, I think this is the most important one: pray to the Lord, dude. Pray to God. If he put you here, he didn't put you here and abandon you. I always use this analogy. It's when you're a kid, your mom and dad or your grandparents jump into the pool and they purposely get like 5 feet from the edge. You're like, I can't reach it, and they're like, jump in. And you're crying, I don't want to jump in. You look back now, you're like, we're never gonna let you drown. But what they were doing is they're teaching about, courage and blah, 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 and, all that good stuff. I think that's what this life is from God. And no matter what happens, including drowning, I really do believe that no matter what happens, that is God's plan for you. Now, some people don't believe in God. Hey, well, then if there's nothing, I think it's equally as hardcore. If an atheist goes, I don't even think there's a God, but I'm still going to do the right thing. That's like just as cool. To be like, I don't even think there's an afterlife. I'm still going to just do the right thing. It's a cold and different universe that I'll be the light. Like, that's also hardcore. So that's what I would say is do what you can do in your immediate circle. Make your voice heard. Hope it affects the larger opinion. Prepare for the absolute worst. And it will, for guys like you and I, it will be the absolute worst. And then lastly, pray to the Lord. And I really, I do believe that God exists, and I don't think he put us in an unwinnable situation.
Fair enough. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. You hear that? I have trouble speaking now. First, folks.
Once you start thinking about it, you can't. you start. Yeah, it's a self-accelerating feedback circle. As I'll do shows and I'll start thinking about all the words I'm mispronouncing. You start getting lost in your own head.
I've learned that a little bit. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've learned that a little bit.
Yeah,
so
man.
Tommy, you all right with me praying us out? You want to pray us out?
Sir.
Which one?
You pray us out. I've prayed us out the last couple times.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought so. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity today to host Joe's show in his absence. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to connect with Tommy today, not only just about what's going on in the world, but a little deeper level, and giving me guidance and wisdom on how to plan for the future and survive with my child. Dear Lord, please give our politicians and those above us the light and guidance and knowledge in order to diffuse this situation and get us back on the right track. I also want to add in our Father. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thine kingdom come, thy will be done, will be done as in heaven. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Oh my, I got to start over, Tommy.
Sorry, I thought we were synced up. I thought our Father
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Sorry, Tommy. Thank you so much, my man.
Yeah, man. Son, all good.
Spirit. Amen.
You better be grateful, Pat. You're supposed to start doing that. Have you been grateful?
I didn't say that today. I didn't do it. No, I gave you thank yous. I said thank yous.
No. But yet, for you personally, so today, my 3 grateful ones is I was grateful for a full night's sleep. I was grateful that my heater worked. It's like 2 degrees outside. And I was grateful that I'm in a group text with my mom and dad and brothers, and that I have a functioning family. Some people don't. It's okay to be grateful. It's okay to be. And I told Pat this doesn't have to be some grand thank you, Lord, for the gift of. You can just be very. It's also cool. Clean water. There's one right there. Thanks, God. Another quick one. Chapstick. Really appreciate it, dude. My lips are dry.
Especially in the cold weather.
Yeah, and lastly, I'm doing a show. You know what makes the show easier is when I can see who I'm talking to. Bam, 1, 2, 3. Water, chapstick, glasses. Doesn't have to be some grandiose thing. Like, you can just be, here's a 4th one. Blanket. They're gimmies. They're layups. I mean, come on.
I got you. I appreciate that, my man. I'll keep it more simple for you next time, Tommy.
Yeah. No, you should be doing that every day, though. Not just at the end of the show.
I say it to myself. I say it in my head.
Good. All right, Pat.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
You got it, Tommy. Thanks for joining, like always.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. We're signing off. I will be in chair tomorrow. Joe will be back later in the week. Can't wait to have him back to tell you what he's been up to. Just wait. All right, everyone. Have a good night. We're out of here.
Whoa, whoa. The forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, Dominion's deceit, pays $1,000 each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Argentina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. opportunity for you, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam, reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Kuma's fraud dominions, rig design, expose the stolen votes, cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rising, watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Whoa, 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 whoa. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor freedom forever, Colorado, rise. Governor Rudd, Governor Rudd, Governor Rudd, Governor Rudd, Governor Rudd, Governor Rudd. Rise up untamed, in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Truth forever. True forever.